Live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate everybody who tunes in. We are live streaming here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. We do this every weekday, and if it's your first time, thanks for being a part of the show. You can download that Fox 12 Oregon app. A great way to watch this live or after the fact. Today, we are talking about something coming up on August 10th, but that has been happening for many, many years here in the city of Portland, and that is the Providence Bridge Pedal. The bridges get shut down to cars. Then you take your bike across them. I mean, it's a concept that's pretty amazing, and actually the views are incredible and something that really supports a good cause all across the board. Good stuff. But we're going to talk right now about how this all got started and what to expect for this year. To do so, we've probably got the best person to do that. That is Rick Bauman, the founder of the Providence Bridge Pedal. And Rick, thank you very much for joining us here today. And I always love knowing, just how things got started, like especially something that's an institution like this. And I would love to hear at least some kind of synopsis or a story of how this concept came about, and really that very first one that you started.
Well, that goes back now to the early and mid 1990s. And at that time, Portland was just getting its biking moxie together. I mean, we now have a reputation, one of the best biking cities in the country, and that was just starting to build then. There had been some big rides in events, bike events around Portland. The STP, the Seattle to Portland Ride, Cycle Oregon had started by then, and I just thought there needed to be something biking in Portland. And when you look at Portland and you look at what's possible, it's those bridges that stitch the community together. And after about a year and a half of sometimes patient negotiations with the city, the county, Oregon Department of Transportation, decided to give it a go. And that was 1996. And we, except for the COVID year, we've been back every year since then.
I mean, that's amazing. I can only imagine, what kind of loopholes and different things you had to jump through to get the city to shut down the bridges. That I'm sure for that first one, that's a huge accomplishment in its own right. But obviously it was so successful, as you mentioned, been going ever since then. So tell me about, once you had that first one there and people started experiencing it, what was it like getting to ride over those bridges, probably for the first time, really, that anybody had ever done something like that?
Yeah, the Markham and the Fremont Bridge were built in the 60s, early 70s. And back then, freeways did only one thing. They were designed and required, really, to only do one thing, and that was to move cars and trucks. And it was forbidden to have any kind of pedestrian access. So when the Fremont Bridge opened in 72, they had one day where people could walk out on the bridge, but for the next 25 years, it was strictly off limits. Thanks to some very forthsightful people at both the city and ODOT particularly, they were willing to take the chance. And I think everybody realizes now those places give such remarkable views of the city that for at least 6 hours a year, they should be available to something other than motorists.
Yeah, and still going on this year. So August 10th is this year's Bridge Pedal event. For people who haven't done it and maybe considering it for the first time, what is that experience like to, say, be on the Fremont Bridge during a sunrise?
Yeah, it is. It's one of my favorite moments of the year. I'm one of the lucky ones who get to sneak up early at about 5 o'clock is when ODOT actually gives us possession of the bridges, and to watch the sun come up and reflecting off the buildings downtown, it is magical. So about 10 years ago, we added what we call the Fremont Express, which is an hour out on the bridge just at sunrise before the ride starts. But the whole design of the event has evolved over the 30 years to be really more than just a biking event. One, we have a walk too, so we want walkers to experience it. And we try to make it available to people of all biking levels. So we have what we call Kids Pedal, which is a little 3-mile loop downtown. We have a longer rides up to 23 miles. So if you're if you've got little kids, if you're family, if you are looking for a more significant biking challenge, we try to make that, we give you the opportunity to enjoy that.
Yeah, so different options depending on what level you're at or how
Right.
invested you want to be, how long a ride you want to have that day. I
Exactly.
mean, but all of those, incorporating those different bridges downtown. For you, how does it feel to have started this that many years ago and then still see all of these people getting out there to experience the city like this and experience these bridges on these rides and walks?
Yeah, it's one of the most satisfying things as the stories you hear from people who have done it year after year, people who up on the Fremont Bridge take their family photo up each year as they grow up and which my family all did in front of the maple tree out in the side yard. It's those sort of things. People who got engaged during the ride. We have a fellow who will be joining us this year who will be starting a ride from the Fremont Bridge to Portland, Maine, as part of a fundraiser for an Alzheimer benefit as the beneficiary. So it's trying to accommodate people from wherever they are and what's important to them and join in a celebration of Portland, the river, the bridges, and where we call home.
Wow, Portland, Oregon to Portland, Maine. That's quite a ride. Well, and all of this, of course, is to benefit a number of different ways as well. Can you tell us just about that side of things and just what this ride, what some of those funds do, what some of that ride actually does for people?
Yeah, you mentioned the complexity of this. It takes a lot of police officers, a lot of people from Portland Bureau of Transportation, ODOT. Real complex, takes a lot of effort, but it wouldn't be nearly the event it is today without the consistent long support of Providence Health and Services. They've been with us as you have, as KPTV has been since 1997, which is, it's that kind of support that has made Bridge Pedal what it is. And as part of the relationship with Providence, they are also the beneficiary of the event. And each year they pick a different program to highlight that the benefit funds go to. This year, it's the Children's Emergency Room at St. Vincent's. So we not only having a good time, but doing good work too.
Yeah, it's just good all around when it comes down to it. Let me ask you this, being probably the most experienced bridge peddler, obviously, what advice?
No, I have never done it.
Oh, wait, you've never done it?
No, I'm the one person who's never done bridge pedal.
Okay, all right, I didn't expect that answer. Got it.
I know every intersection, but I've never actually done the ride.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, what advice would you have for somebody, for knowing Bridge Pedal August, being the founder, what advice would you have for somebody who maybe is going out there to do it for the first time this year?
The thing to keep in mind is, one, it's a ride, not a race. We have generous time limits for people to enjoy the ride and take their time. Biking in a group of 10,000 other cyclists is not like, just biking down in your bike lane near your home. You've got to be more considerate and signal your turns and just take it easy. And if you take it easy, we'll be there to support you. We'll have, entertainment along the way. We have food, we have water, we have ice cream at the finish line. If as long as you understand it's just a celebration of fun, not a race, everybody should have a good, safe ride.
Yeah, looking at it right there, just it's a casual ride, as you mentioned, not a race. And part of it, just enjoying those views, getting to be there on all these bridges,
Yeah.
And then the Springwater Corridor as well. If people have never done that ride, I do that all the time myself. But that's just another beautiful part of it, going in between the Selwood Bridge there and the other bridges downtown. So so many great things to see on this ride.
And you're showing the Hawthorne Bridge right there. I mean, that's always one of our most difficult to prepare because we have to cover that whole deck. We are the proud
Oh,
owners of about 530 sheets of plywood, and starting 6 o'clock Saturday night before, we have a whole crew out there putting all that plywood down. So it's a good, safe ride across that open grading on the Hawthorne.
yeah, I didn't even think about that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a lot of work right there. What do you think is the most challenging bridge for people, or at least maybe even just for you for getting ready for it? Is it the Hawthorne?
It is, and coming off the Hawthorne, it's just because people are going different ways that way. We used to do all 10 bridges, and for the last decade, there's been, I'm sure you've covered the stories, a shortage of police officers in Portland. And so that required us to shrink the course to only the 7 bridges that we now use. We don't go up to the St. John's anymore, and we don't use the Broadway or the Burnside. And in doing that, the complexities of weaving the different groups in and out. We use the Springwater Trail to get down to the Selwood Bridge. That's only 12 feet wide. So we have to stage the starting and the flow of the cyclists so that it doesn't get too crowded along the way. And once people start biking, they get to relax and enjoy the experience.
Well, that's a lot of work, but obviously, as you mentioned, going for good causes and doing it for this many years, that idea paid off.
Yeah.
It seems like people seem to enjoy it. Well, Rick, for everybody out there who wants to do this, this year and be a part of it, what's the best way for them to get involved and maybe pick one of those different categories that you have to participate in the Bridge Pedal?
Sure. The easiest way is online. It's just providencebridgepedal.org, and registration's pretty straightforward and simple. That stays open until midnight the night before the ride, so people have the next 2.5 weeks to sign up, and or can come down Sunday morning, August 10th, and do it in person. We try to make it as easy as possible.
Sounds pretty simple. Yeah, well, Rick, thank you very much for joining us to talk about this and
Thanks,
hear
Greg.
the story of it. I really appreciate it.
Great. Take care.
You too. And for everybody watching, this is Fox 12 Now. Thanks for being a part of this show. We get to have these longer form conversations and discussions, which is a lot of fun to find out more about something like Providence Bridge Pedal. Like I said, an institution here in Portland, and now we know more about it. And Rick has never done it. So that's hilarious and fantastic to learn about and just know more here about this event and everything else that goes on with it. And don't forget, you can go to the Fox 12 Oregon app and watch all of our segments and, watch them live or after the fact. So thanks for doing so. We've got plenty more coming up. And if there's ever breaking news between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m., this is also the place to go. We will send you out a notification, and I will be here getting you that information should that occur. Otherwise, I'll talk to you here in about 15 minutes or so. I'm Greg Nibbler.